Hello everyone and welcome to Reading with Olan. Today we are going to read Chapter 2 of Little Kid's First Big Book of Dinosaurs. Please enjoy Chapter 2 and like and subscribe. Have a great time with me. Let's begin. Pentaceratops had a horned head. This dinosaur had 5 horns on its head. 2 stood over its eyes. 2 stuck out from its cheeks. The 5th horn grew on top of its nose. A frill stretched around the back of its head. Short spikes grew all along the frill. The frill helped the dinosaur show off to other Pentaceratops. No dinosaurs lived in the water, but some dinosaurs were good swimmers. Facts: when it lived: late Cretaceous. Food: plants. Size: bigger than a human. Herrerasaurus had a big mouth. This fierce meat eater could open its mouth very wide. Its strong jaws slid back and forth and chomped down hard. Its big mouth held a lot of strong teeth. Herrerasaurus was one of the earliest big meat eaters. It lived in the Triassic, the beginning of the time of dinosaurs. Herrerasaurus walked on its hind legs. Herrerasaurus used its teeth to cut prey into chunks it could swallow. Facts: when it lived: late Triassic. Food: meat. Size: bigger than a human. Actually about the size, but a little taller. Styracosaurus had a fancy face. A big horn on its nose, spikes along its frill, and knobs on its cheeks gave this dinosaur an unusual look. Paleontologists have found many fossil skeletons of these dinosaurs together. They think Styracosaurus traveled in groups. Styracosaurus used its sharp beak to chop off the plants it ate. Facts: when it lived: late Cretaceous. Food: plants. Size: well, it's not bigger than a human it's bigger than a human with the spikes, but with body, it's a little taller. Utahraptor had clawed feet. This dinosaur had scary-looking feet. When Utahraptor attacked, it leaped up in the air. Then it kicked hard. The big, sharp claws on its feet stabbed its prey. The claws on its feet were about 12 inches, 30 centimeters long. That is longer than the cover of this book. Utahraptor also had a lot of sharp teeth. Like many small meat eaters, this dinosaur was smart, fast, and dangerous. Utahraptor had powerful legs. Paleontologists found this dinosaur's fossil in Utah, in the United States. That is how it got the name Utahraptor. Facts: when it lived: early Cretaceous. Food: meat. Size: bigger than a human. Cryolophosaurus had a pretty crest. The crest on top of Cryolophosaurus's head was bony. 2 little horns grew on each side. The decoration may have made the dinosaur attractive to another Cryolophosaurus or Cryolophosaurus. Paleontologists found this toothy dinosaur's fossils near the South Pole. It is one of the first dinosaurs to be discovered on the continent of Antarctica. Antarctica is a very cold place today, but when Cryolophosaurus was there, Antarctica was much warmer. Facts. When it lived: early Jurassic, food, meat, size, bigger than a human. Neothronicus had clawed arms. This plant eater had huge claws on its hands. It used these claws to grab branches. Neothronicus had a beak and more than 100 tiny teeth. You cannot see a giant relative. You can see a giant relative on Neothronosaurus or Neothronicus, called Tyrannosaurus, on page 90. They lived at different times and in different places. There are at least 1,000 species of dinosaurs. Facts. When it lived: Middle Cretaceous, food, plants, size, bigger than a human. Triceratops had 3 horns. The horns on its head and the frill around its neck were used to show off to other Triceratops. The dinosaurs sometimes used their horns to fight each other too. Paleontologists found the fossils of 3 young Triceratops together. This makes them think that these dinosaurs traveled in family groups. Triceratops means 3-horned face. Triceratops had about 800 small teeth. The plant eater used them to cut up the tough plants they ate. When it lived: late Cretaceous, food, plants, size, bigger than a human. Even with the frill, it's bigger. Metaburosaurus had a bumpy nose. No one knows exactly why Metaburosaurus had a big bump on its skull. It was right behind the holes in its nose called nostrils. Here are 3 hypotheses about this dinosaur's odd nose. It might have helped Metaburosaurus smell things better, look more attractive to a mate, or make its calls louder. Scientists often make a good guess called a hypothesis to answer things they do not know for sure. Nobody knows for sure what sounds dinosaurs make. Facts. When it lived: early Cretaceous, food, plants, size, bigger than human. Europasaurus was an island dino. This dinosaur was smaller than its relatives. Europasaurus is closely related to Apatosaurus, see page 106, and Brachiosaurus, see page 108. Europasaurus looked a lot like those gigantic dinosaurs, but it did not grow as big. It lived in forests on islands, small bits of land surrounded by water. Fossils of Europasaurus were found in Germany, a country on the continent of Europe. If you're wondering, that is why it got its name. Facts. When it lived: late Jurassic, food, plant, size bigger than a human, of course, with a long neck. Dinosaurs had a back sail. Oranosaurus lived in a rainy place where the land often flooded. The dinosaur had plenty of plants to eat, but when the land flooded, Oranosaurus had to watch out for giant crocodiles which lived in the time of dinosaurs. Yes, it lived in the time of dinosaurs. I know that's crazy. The big crest along this dinosaur's whole back looks a bit like a sail on a sailboat. Facts: when it lived, early Cretaceous, food, plants, size, bigger than a human. Carnotaurus had a square head. This dinosaur might remind you of a bull because it had two horns on its head. The odd-looking dinosaur had a very small lower jaw. Its head was shaped like a square. Some dinosaurs couldn't see in front of them with both eyes at the same time, but Carnotaurus's eyes were far enough forward on its face that it could see a head with both eyes at once. Carnotaurus had tiny arms. They were so small that the meat eater could not use them to do much. That's kind of like the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Facts: when it lived, late Cretaceous, food, meat, size, bigger than a human. Stegosaurus had a spiked tail. Huge spikes on Stegosaurus's tail were a good weapon. If a predator threatened it, Stegosaurus could swing its big tail and smack the enemy with the spikes. Stegosaurus also had tall plates sticking up from its back. Another dinosaur in this big book has tall plates too. Do you remember Huyangosaurus on page 36? Stegosaurus was the biggest species of plate-backed plant eater. The plates helped keep meat eaters from attacking Stegosaurus. Facts: when it lived, late Jurassic, food, plants, size, bigger than a human. Corythosaurus had a helmet head. Corythosaurus had a helmet head. Corythosaurus was one of several related species of dinosaurs called the crested duckbills. When a Corythosaurus breathed in, the air traveled from its nose up through the crest on its head. Its crest may have made the dinosaur sound louder. This dinosaur lived in groups called herds. Facts: when it lived, late Cretaceous, food, plants, size, bigger than a human. Plateosaurus was a leaf chomper. At the time Plateosaurus lived, it was one of the biggest dinosaurs. It had a lot of teeth for ripping leaves off trees. If Plateosaurus wanted to eat leaves that were high in a tree, the dinosaur could stand on its hind legs to reach them. It may have used its arms to pull down branches. Paleontologists have found more than 100 skeletons of this kind of dinosaur. Facts: when it lived, late Triassic, food, plants, size, bigger than a human. Pachycephalosaurus had a thick head. Pachycephalosaurus had a very hard head. These dinosaurs may have used their heads to whack each other's sides. Some dinosaurs fought each other to guard the area where they wanted to live. They did not always like to share their space. Pachycephalosaurus ate leaves, seeds, and fruit. Some dinosaurs fought each other to see which one was stronger. Facts: when it lived, late Cretaceous. Food: plants. Size: bigger than a human. And that was chapter 3. That was chapter 2 of Little Kid's First Big Book of Dinosaurs. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time for chapter 3.